misuse of your imagination. And I would point out that it's not about your stress. Know that there almost is no patient that has not asked me at one point or another, is the reason I'm not getting pregnant because I'm too stressed out? And the answer to that question is, if stress prevented women from getting pregnant, nobody would ever get pregnant after fertility therapy, because you come in with a baseline level of stress, and we really ratchet up. We give you shots, we poke and prod every day, we do blood tests, we make you wake up early in the morning, wait online. It's not fun. Everybody who's doing this knows it's not fun. And so relieving stress, it's a wonderful thing. Relieving stress can keep you focused in the process, but the stress itself is not what's preventing you from getting pregnant. And I would certainly tell this audience that may be perceiving that you are being punished in some way, that you don't have just a disease of infertility, you have a religious condition. That's really not, don't be so haughty to think that you understand the mind of the Borei Olam. We don't know exactly what's on his mind. Some people get infertility, and some people get cancer, and some people get into accidents, and some people break their legs. And this is a condition that happens. Some people get diabetes, and some people get other things. They get congenital problems. This is a problem that is usually something that you can overcome. Why it is that you've been chosen to get this particular problem, we don't know, but we don't know what the mind of the Lord has in store. The third issue that I'd like to call to your attention is that really what you're looking for, especially when you've been with your doctor who you love, and the staff who you love, things are not working out. You feel comfortable with this knowledge, but things are not working out. You know what you have to do? First you call a time. Then they look at this and that and the other thing, and they say, go to see that doctor. Yeah? The less convenient, the more happy you'll be. And by the way, if you go to see a doctor, you try to make an appointment, and it's a really big doctor, so you have to wait not 6 weeks, but 6 months to get that. And maybe the doctor's so big you can't even get an appointment. You get finally after 6 months into the waiting room, you have to wait 6 hours to see that doctor and spend 2 minutes for her. You have the feeling that that doctor has the secret of life that you're waiting for, but that doctor doesn't have the secret of life. How do we know? Because we know what happens to our patients. The patients who went to the doctor in the city that thought they had the secret of life, then they end up back in Brooklyn, then they go to New Jersey, then they fly into Boston, they go into Israel, they go to Belgium, they're flying around the world to find the doctor who has the secret of life. And guess what? I'm not sure that there is one secret of life, but I'll get to that in a minute. You want to find out this guy, who that guy is, who knows what that miracle is that's going to make you pregnant. And sometimes it's true. Mishaneh makom, mishaneh mazal. But you know what? It's very possible that if you did the same thing again with a different doctor, you get the same outcome. We know that's really the dirty hidden secret. The doctors kind of know who's going to get pregnant. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of that basic schema of human reproduction, that over time, most couples get pregnant. They just have to be persistent. And so doing, this kind of thing all around the world, in search of, what are you looking for? You're looking for the non-smiling doctor. That's a very serious doctor. As a matter of fact, that is not just one serious doctor. That is a big doctor. That is a 7-foot-tall doctor. You're not just really searching for a doctor. You're searching for a big doctor. The myth that is slowly invaded into the Jewish community that certain people have the secret of life. I confess I don't have that secret of life. I haven't met anybody who does, but if I do, I'll let you know. Okay. The other things that you look for is what's in fashion. There's something new, That's got to be the secret. There was one time when PGD was completely new, and so we told you, well, we can look at every chromosome. We can make sure that you're going to get pregnant, but it doesn't work all the time. In vitro maturation, that's one secret of life that they do a lot of in Canada. Co-culture, wow. You put embryos in a mix with secretions from the uterine lining. It makes a lot of sense. Some nice data on it. Do you think that every patient who has co-culture or embryos gets pregnant? Obviously not, because you have to have the right genetic makeup. Mini IVF. See people going through IVF with severe male factors who have 2 eggs, 1 egg, 3 eggs. And this is a marketing ploy. Blood thinners. Well, we use a lot of blood thinners. You know why we use a lot of blood thinners in our program? Because if we don't use blood thinners, you go to the next guy. You say, well, why didn't you use any blood thinners? This elective single embryo transfer really is not the secret of life, but that is a serious new thing that's come about to try to minimize the occurrence of multifetal pregnancy. Because twins and triplets, they may look cute to you, but they're not always cute to the parents, especially when they're born with problems. And the more babies there are, the more problems there can be. So what's in fashion is surely not the secret of life. And I would say, really, there is no secret. I tried to italicize that. There is no secret of life. There's just some different secrets, maybe, that are important to know. Anybody know where this comes from? This is the title of President Obama's book, and I'm not a huge President Obama fan, but it's an interesting title. People have to be hopeful. You know, what happens when you despair is that you get paralyzed by your despair. You just can't go on. You can't wake up in the morning, let alone go to another doctor for a consultation. Sometimes you feel like you're out of hope because you did something 3 times and it didn't work. You went through insemination 3 times and it didn't work. You took Clomid 5 times, you ovulated. The doctor told you you'll get pregnant and you didn't get pregnant. Wow, you get paralyzed by fear. And what do you fear? You're fearing that it may never end. You don't know when it's going to end. It's important to have hope. Hope for tomorrow, hope for the next day, and hope for technology, by the way. Hope does spring eternal. I've already been asked tonight, well, what about vitamins, and what about acupuncture, and what about herbs? You know, there's this thing that we have, and if it's natural, it's better. But you know what? Nature is not always kind to us. Right? Cancer, that's natural. Pneumonia is natural. People used to die of pneumonia. Headaches are natural. A lot of natural things that are not really very nice. That's why I go to the doctor. So there's a lot of stuff out there that is, we want to be purists about this, untested, unknown, probably don't hurt and make you healthier for sure. Vitamins, yoga, mind-body connection, acupuncture. I don't know one patient who's ever told me that she doesn't feel better with acupuncture. It makes you feel better. There is a lot that happens with acupuncture, and everybody knows about the 2 studies that show that pregnancy rates are increased when you take acupuncture, but you know what? Those are not real tested studies on a large number of individuals that are double-blinded, rigorous studies. And there are also studies that show that it doesn't help. So the hope for things that are not tested, I'm not so sure about, but you know what? We don't know what is going to happen down the line. This is a slide that I explained to my medical students and residents about how stem cells work and how we can create, from a blastocyst, by the way, from the cells of a blastocyst, how new organs will be created in the future, including the sources of eggs and sperm. Right? So one day, those who have nothing will have something, regardless of their age, etc. But unfortunately, stem cell technology is not yet mature. And we have to remember that, anybody know those people? Steptoe and Edwards? Name ring a bell? Those are the two doctors, one a gynecologist, and the other, Robert Edwards, the father of reproductive science, that described the first IVF baby in 1978. And they were pioneers in our field. And you can think that we've gotten as far as we can ever go in IVF, but I'm sure that that is not the case. Imagine if when Orville and Wilbur Wright invented human flight in an airplane, people said, okay, we're done. We did it, we conquered it, and we were stuck back in the 1920s with biplanes. Well, human invention, the human mind, creativity, science, it develops. So 1978 was not that long ago. I'm sure that 10 years from now, the practice of reproductive medicine will be different. And 50 years from now, they're going to laugh at what we're doing today. A lot of things will happen. Your level of hope can correlate with how long you'll be in the game, reproductively speaking. Ovarian transplantation for women who are going through chemotherapy for cancer was a fantasy 5 years ago, and now it's reality. For women who get married later in life, freezing eggs, fantasy, didn't work, wasn't practical. Today, it's very real and out there. So, it's very important as you're dealing with your own worries and stresses to remember that although it's audacious, it's important to have hope. And that, I think, joins the list, therefore, in the secrets of reproductive medicine. By the way, I did add this special slide. This is the first time I've ever given this presentation. I gave this one special to you. If you're here, unlike some of my secular patients, if you're here, you already have a family. Maybe husband, wife. That's the start of your family. Can you imagine when people get to the stage of life where they're all alone and they have nobody, especially in secular America, where families live in 16 different cities. They have no siblings. They have no parents that they see every day. You have a family. You probably have a wider family. And it's something that you need to know. Now, I want to end with a story that I heard just a couple of weeks ago. I think it's really important in this type of setting. This is a story about a 10-year-old boy who, Rahman al-Islam, was in a car accident, and he lost his right arm in the accident. And his father was so worried about how this kid was going to function without his right, doesn't have a right arm, how he's going to convalesce. And the kid, as he survives the accident and begins to recover, he gains strength in his left arm. And when he comes home from rehab, he tells his father, I want to learn martial arts. I was thinking he's going to be depressed and down, doesn't know what to do. Wants to learn martial arts. Okay, so he takes him to the martial arts class, introduces him to the sensei. The sensei says, don't worry, I'll take your boy. And over time, with a lot of attention and a lot of work, the sensei teaches him judo. And he masters one move in judo, but he's really good at it. And the sensei just keeps doing that one move over and over and over again. And finally, at the age of 15, this young boy, missing his right arm, is ready to join the tournament. And he goes into the first and second and third rounds of the tournament, and he's beating everybody. And he gets to the semifinals, and he tells the sensei, I'm amazed that I got to this level, but I don't think I could I can fight this guy. Sensei says, just focus on what you have. That you have mastered this move, and you'll be okay. Goes into the semifinals, and he takes down his opponent within 5 minutes. Now he gets to the final round, and he goes to the sensei and says, I think I'm ready to quit. Why do you want to quit? I'm looking at my opponent. This guy is the master, the champion from the previous year. There's no way I can possibly beat him. Sensei said, you concentrate on everything that I've taught you. You'll go back into the ring and do what you can. At least you'll try. And the boy is not doing well. He's down on the mat. He's almost losing, and gets his power concentration back. And he pulls his move on his opponent. And sure enough, at the end of the fight, he's the winner. He's declared the champion. And at the end of the fight, they're in the car going home. The boy is feeling so good, but he's confused. He said to the sensei, I really don't understand something. I have one arm. How could I possibly have won that tournament? And the sensei tells him, well, really there's two things. The first thing is that it's true you only know one move, but you're the best at that move. The second thing is, there's only one way for your opponent to defend himself against that move. And that way is, he's got to grab your right arm. But you don't have a right arm. So nobody can defend against you. You know, I meet patients every day who I think are ready to give their right arm to have a baby. They didn't want to be chosen for this challenge. But things happen. The missing right arm, the missing baby, is a challenge in your life that you only understand after you're the winner of the tournament. It's something that you understand only after you get the baby. That's what we call understanding life backwards. And if you speak to anybody who's been through the challenge of infertility, they'll tell you they became a better parent, that they became more sensitive to other people going through this. They learned how to do acts of chesed that they never thought about. Some of those people, as you probably figured out, are responsible for founding organizations like A-Time and other organizations that support patients with infertility, and they do that because of their experience. They turned their handicap into being a champion. So you don't know why you're called on for this. Most people emerge as parents. You understand it backwards. Once years go by and you're able to look back and see that the trial is in the past. And so I think that qualifies as the fifth secret of life. And that's really what I wanted to end up with. And I'll just give you my list to think about. Well, that'll end, and if you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to stay for a little bit and answer. Thank you for your attention.